Speaking of engagement, you had something, you raised it to me, it was very interesting yesterday. You're introduced to medical marijuana,
Yes.
which you have done in the
Yes.
past, but also for the caretaker of
Yes.
the person to be covered under this bill. So explain to the viewers about your medical marijuana bills, including the caretaker.
Well, actually, we just had a meeting with the speaker on Tuesday morning, and I'm happy to say that the speaker has given it the green light, so it shouldn't be a problem passing. What we did was to create a situation for caregivers of medical of patients who need medical marijuana. If you were really sick, you could be terminally ill. You don't have the wherewithal. You don't have the ability to go out on your own and try to get marijuana, medical marijuana, for your medical usage. So your mother or your sister or your spouse or somebody else, it's the same as if people were going to the drugstore to get your medications from the drugstore, your regular prescriptions. And so what we find is that not only the patients needed protections, but those caregivers. And so we worked with the governor's office last year to create an affirmative defense so that if you're stopped and you have a small amount of marijuana for your husband who's dying, and that was the case with my brother-in-law and my mom, and that's one reason why I'm so passionate about this issue. I've seen close family members literally starve to death, because when you get to a point and you can't eat, and you should hear the testimony. I hope you'll be able to come when we have our hearings from people who have severe medical issues, and the only thing that's helped them is marijuana. And marijuana used to be prescribed by the government. In fact, I'm trying to get a person to attend our hearing for the medical marijuana bill who is the last surviving patient of a federal program that had, and in fact I have a YouTube video of his testimony in Michigan. I'll be happy to send it to you. Where he talked about the federal government. He still gets marijuana from the federal government every month. He gets, and it's grown in Mississippi for him from the federal government. Yes, and so it's hypocritical when the federal government then says that we can't allow you to have marijuana, and so many states have come online now. So many states have approved legislation for medical marijuana. We're not talking about creating drug activity. We're talking about a person who has documented needs from their doctor. Anytime you can prescribe cocaine to a person, but you can't prescribe marijuana, and no one has ever died from marijuana. No one. I defy anybody to show any case study where someone has died of marijuana. It hasn't happened. But cocaine, you can prescribe. There's something wrong with that picture. And that's because marijuana is on the wrong schedule for drugs in the United States of America. We are hoping on a federal level that the Obama administration will finally take that on. We know that they're not interested in enforcing any kind of punitive actions on any states that has a well-constructed law. So with the caregiver protections, that is a bill that I'm sponsoring. It actually passed the House last session on sine die and just didn't make it over to the Senate. So it's going to pass this year. I'm sponsoring it on the House side, and Senator Jamie Raskin is the lead sponsor on the Senate side. But I'm also sponsoring the Maryland Medical Marijuana Act, which is the comprehensive legislation which allows patients to be able to grow their own small portions of marijuana for those people who have exhausted all other resources, and where they are, you can't just go to a doctor and say, I have a headache, so give me some weed,
Right.
No, this is for those really, most of the time it's terminal illness, or something so severe, but, hopefully, I don't know whether it will pass or not, but I'm just hoping that given the fact that Maryland showed its progressive nature in last year's legislative session, and so many of my colleagues thought out of the box last session, I'm hoping that that same sentiment will be afforded to people who are sick and dying and who really need some help. So, you know, I know it's a controversial issue, but it's an issue that I'm committed to, and I will continue to chip away at it, and I'll take as much as I can get every session.
Absolutely. And you're riding off the coattails, the momentum that was just passed in other states this
Yes, absolutely.
in November.
We even had one state that approved recreational use.
Right.
You know, we're not even going there. And I don't smoke or drink or do anything to get high. But I just have an appreciation for people who are less fortunate than I am. You know, I've seen what happens.